Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Ryan, or RGR Productions, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made the legs on my Captain Rex armor build. This is part 5 in my ongoing series. The first thing I started doing was I took 4 sheets of paper and I stuck them together, and I'm just making the basic shape of one of my thigh pieces. So I took 4 pieces and then I cut another piece in half and I added those to the end, making it 5 pieces. And then I just traced this one shape onto that to make the template. And basically it's just a big piece of cardboard that I wrapped around my thigh and made sure that it fit snugly, but it was still loose enough to where it could have some mobility on me. And then I curved that piece of cardboard into a tube, and then I sliced some score lines into it so you can move it much easier. And then I just added this little shelf on the inside, so you just glue a piece of cardboard and then you can glue both sides together. And then once I had them both glued together, I could start adding slits. So basically I took 8 about half-inch slits that went 3/4 of the way up the piece. And if you do this symmetrically all around, so 8 evenly spaced slits, and then you glue them all together, so you get this really nice tapering effect. I did this same thing on my Commander Wolf armor, and I really liked how that looked, so I basically just remade them, but edited the back shape. Basically what you want to do is, if you're looking at it from the front, you want to make it slant down, and then the back, you want to make it drop all the way down and then cut across straight, almost a 90-degree angle. It's slightly more than that. And then I was pretty happy with this, so what I did is I cut a little groove out of the bottom edge to make room for your knee to bend and things like that. And then once I was happy with that first one, I went ahead and repeated it for the second one. So again, put that seam line on there and then cut those 8 grooves, glue them together. And then at the very front, there's this one seam line down the middle. So what you're going to want to do is just make a line down with your knife. And then at the bottom, there's this really tall triangular shape. So I made sure to get that done as well. And then there's this one big groove channel cutout at the back. I don't know what it's called. It's basically the same thing as the back of the bicep, so I just added that to the back of this. You just take a big piece of cardboard and you cut out the same shape. It's kind of like a rounded off square in the top edge. You just cut that out of the back and then take that exact same piece that you cut out and glue it back on. So it's pretty simple, and I was actually really happy with how it turned out. Now to make these things rigid, basically what I did is just I took some wire, I curled it up, and then I glued it onto the insides. That was from a coat hanger. So now the next thing I started working on was the knee. So you basically take this square shape. I started maybe 4 inches by 4 inches, maybe 4 inches by 5 inches, something like that. And you round off the corners, except it's like an inside round. It's not the corner rounded off. You round off a corner, like you're cutting a chunk out. And then what I did is I curved it together, and then I glued this velcro strips onto the ends so you could remove the strip on the back to put it on. You could always just slip it over your foot though. So what you do is you cut a long strip that fits around the back of your knee, and then you just put velcro on the ends of that so you can attach it to this knee piece. And then on the front of this knee piece, there's also a rectangular shape that goes on it, so that's pretty simple. And then the back of the strap has one thinner strip that goes in the middle, so that was pretty fun to do. And then the next thing I started working on was the calves. Now these were a big pain, and what you're going to see in this video is actually not the final version of these. I just whipped these together, and currently I'm really not happy with how they're looking. You're going to see them in the photos in this video, but in the next video I'll be remaking them, and if you purchase the templates, then the remade ones that are better will be in there in the file. It's just the one problem was I didn't have enough cardboard, and there were seam lines everywhere, and it needs to be flexible so you can put your foot in. So it was just a big mess, and I ended up wanting to remake it. So that's what you're going to be seeing in the next video. I'm not really going to go over it much, just skim over it, because in the next video I'm making the pauldron, the holsters, and the guns, as well as attaching the comma, but I'll be doing that after the whole armor's finished. I'm thinking I'm doing about 2 more episodes after this, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing what I just stated, the pauldron, and then the comma, the holsters, and the guns. And then after that, I'm going to do an episode of finishing off the armor and then the final reveal. So that's all going to be one big video. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. That should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And then after that, I'll try to get the templates out as soon as possible. Now on the back of this calf piece, there is a little channel cut out. And it's kind of like a big U shape, like a horseshoe, but very elongated. So you can just cut that shape out of the back and again, score lines to make it easier to bend. And basically what I ended up doing was extending it since it wasn't big enough to fit on my leg. It still isn't big enough. It's barely big enough to even fit on. And on the inside edge, what you're going to want to do is add some wire to make it a little bit stiffer and hold into place so it can't get smushed as easily. Now, if you want a really good looking kind of shin piece, I recommend going looking at my Commander Wolf armor build, because those shins look so much better than that. I think I'm going to try to copy those ones onto this armor. Just take off that top knee piece because it's not supposed to be attached. I think that'll end up looking way better. Because the problem with this one is that if you look at it from the side profile, it's not slanted backwards. It's really just like one big shape, and it doesn't look good. It's like a smooth shape going straight down, and it's supposed to be sloped towards the back and on both the sides, basically like the thigh piece, but it's supposed to be straight on that front edge. But I wasn't able to make that work, so I just tried my best, and I'm really not happy with how it turned out. So yeah, I'll be remaking them, so you pretty much don't have to do these. You can make them if you like how they look, but they're way too small. And now I've just recently finished these calf pieces. These were a little challenging to make, but I'm really happy with how they turned out. They fit a little snug, just a little bit too snug, but they'll work for their job. And these fit actually really nicely with the knee pieces and with the thigh pieces. So like if you take one of the thigh pieces and you line the two pieces up together, they look pretty good going together, and I'm really happy with how that looks. So now the last thing I need to do for the main armor is make the thermal detonator that goes at the back of the armor, and then that's it for this episode. And then in the next episode we'll be doing like the pauldron and the guns and then the holsters. So yeah, I'll cut to that video. The thermal detonator at the back was very simple. Basically what I did is I took a piece that was about 4.5 inches wide, and then it was 5 inches long, and I curled that up. I removed the bit of cardboard at the back so you could flex it much easier, and I glued that into a tube. And then I added another shorter strip towards the edges, and I also removed the cardboard on the inside to make it easier to bend. And then the next thing I did was just cut out a circular shape that was the size of the end cap, and I just glued another bit of cardboard on to cover up the end. I think it ended up looking pretty good. And then all I did was took another piece of cardboard. Now this is a particular type of cardboard. It's kind of like a thin cardboard. It's like the priority mail boxes, if you know what I'm talking about. That has much finer corrugation, and you can get some nice detail strips out of those. So I just took a small chunk of that and glued it onto the edge. I think it looked pretty nice. But basically just peel off that top layer and you should have a nice shape. So basically what you're going to want to do next is make an attachment point for where it can go on the belt. So you just take a piece of cardboard, and that's like 1 inch by 2 inches, and you cut out 2 of those, and then you stack them double height, and then you just cover up the corrugation on the walls, and then add some Velcro to the back, and it should end up attaching to the belt really nicely. And that concludes part 5 of my Captain Rex armor build series. So in this video, I went over the thermal detonator at the back, then both of the thigh pieces, both of the knee pieces, and then those calf pieces, which you're going to be seeing me redo in the next episode. So bringing that to the next episode, I'm going to be doing the pauldron, the holsters on the sides, and the guns, and then I'm going to be remaking those calf pieces. And then in the video after that, I'm going to be finishing up the whole armor, and then we'll have a big review. So, this has been very fun to make. If you have any suggestions for what I should make next, please leave them in the comments down below. This has been RJR Productions, signing off. Till next time.